Creative babble.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
I'm sure this has happened to you where you're out there with your friends and you're having a conversation about a very specific product, and somehow that product's ad gets on your social feeds, on websites. It's almost like they're listening to you, or maybe even tracking you. Well, the answer is that they are, because every phone and every app has what's known as a mobile advertising ID. And it's a long string of letters and numbers unique to your device. Of course, it's not tied to your name, at least not directly. And that's what technically makes it anonymous. So every time you open up that weather app, that app is sending your exact location. I'm not talking about zip code, your exact GPS coordinates up to the cloud, and then that data is handed over to an ad broker. Then that ad broker packages up all your data and sells it to marketers, and it's perfectly legal. And here's the thing, it's not just for marketers. Anybody with the right budget can get a hold of this data. So if these marketers know that you do yoga, they might put you in the health conscious bucket and send you Lululemon ads. But this technology is not just about selling your stuff. Anyone with the right budget can get a hold of this data. And you might be asking yourself, how in the world is this legal? Well, you technically agreed to it when you clicked accept on that 50-page terms and conditions page that you never really read. In season 1 of Criminal Conduct, my other podcast, John, Taylor, and I used this technology to basically track the suspects. We got a hold of technology that could geofence around specific areas, okay? And in that case, we were doing a homicide investigation. We suspected that one of the suspects was the sheriff's deputy. He was accused of killing his girlfriend and also possibly killing somebody who was trying to investigate that case. So what we did was we drew a circle around the sheriff's department, we drew a circle around that sheriff's deputy's house, and a circle around the victim's apartment. If one of these random mobile advertising IDs showed up in all 3 places, it's not exactly a smoking gun, but we could derive that it was probably that sheriff's deputy. So in today's bonus episode, we're going to talk about how the data that we're just giving away is used to track our every moves, and how this data in the wrong hands can be very dangerous. What happens if we geofence Jeffrey Epstein's island? Would we be able to identify who visited Jeffrey Epstein? We'll have to find out. I'm Javier Leyva, and this is a bonus episode of Pretend, stories about real people pretending to be someone else.
Paradise is back
It's finally here!
in a new location, Costa Rica. There will be adventure, drama, and romance,
All gas, no brakes, that's my vibe.
Ready to find some love.
but it wouldn't be paradise without surprises along the way.
These kids need to learn.
That's right, your favorite Golden alums are crashing the beach.
We bringing the party, baby.
Bachelor in Paradise, new Mondays at 8, 7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
We all know the name Jeffrey Epstein, accused child predator, convicted sex offender, and arrested in 2019 for sex trafficking charges. And he was found dead in his jail cell a few weeks later. But even after Jeffrey Epstein's death, he's still being investigated. Elon Musk is talking about it. The Department of Justice just announced that Jeffrey Epstein does not have a client list. But what if we could use anonymous mobile advertising IDs to track who came in and out of the island? And Wired magazine did just that. They uncovered 200 mobile devices that visited Jeffrey Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's right, down to the minute and down to the very dock. And there were no secret wiretap investigations, no warrant, no subpoenas. This data came from ad tech, from people's very own cell phones. Yes, the same anonymous advertising technology that gives you that targeted ad for that Chipotle bowl right before lunch was used to track possible Epstein clients. The data was collected by a company called Near Intelligence. And basically, they are a location broker that buys and sells people's movement just like any other commodity. And more specifically, with your mobile phone advertising ID, what they're selling is that mobile advertising ID. You know, that random string of numbers used to track your device. And yes, it's supposed to be anonymous, but if you look closely, you could connect some dots. Let's say you are one of Jeffrey Epstein's clients and you open up that weather app. Your location data is now in the hands of data brokers. So Near Technology was able to gather data from 2016 all the way to 2019 up to the day that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. Wired magazine was able to follow this digital breadcrumb trail from the Ritz-Carlton on St. Thomas to a private dock all the way in Little St. James. The data set itself contained more than 11,000 GPS points. And if you're able to follow that breadcrumb trail backwards, you're able to find out where that trail originated. People's houses, people's workplace, where they went afterwards. That digital trail led to 166 locations across the US. We're talking about luxury homes in Martha's Vineyard, penthouses in Manhattan, and gated communities in Palm Beach and in Naples. Some of those GPS locations also pinpointed to lower income neighborhoods in Palm Beach, possibly where some of Jeffrey Epstein's victims lived. And again, this technology is perfectly legal because marketers are not using this data to track criminals. They're using it to sell you stuff. By the way, the company Near that collected all this data is now called Azeria. And a spokesperson told Wire magazine that that data was collected by somebody outside of the company, not an employee. So you're thinking, wow, this is great, right? This technology could bust, potential bad guys. But what happens when this technology is used to hunt innocent people? That's after the break.
Using a Clorox disinfecting wipe to clean that stuck-on sauce from the stove feels like...
Oh, boy. That tickles. Stop.
It feels like coming home to your needy corgi after a long day.
Best part of the day, finally.
With Clorox, clean feels carefree. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
So now let's go to Wisconsin, where a conservative group used this anonymous advertising mobile ID to track down people they didn't like. And what happens when you weaponize this technology? Remember, these data brokers are supposed to sell the data to marketers and advertisers, but really anyone who has cash can buy this data. This conservative group purchased geofenced location area to find out who was coming in and out of abortion clinics. This data showed where people were coming from, how long they stayed at the clinics, and where they went next. And they used this data to deliver anti-abortion ads directly to those individuals' phones. Some of these ads were graphic, they were religious, they were politically charged, and they were targeting the people who were in the clinics. Now, in this case, they were just serving them ads, but what happens if this group decided that they wanted to follow these women home and harm them? The data used to target these abortion clinics was purchased from a company called SafeGraph, and it cost them as little as $160. In 2022, Motherboard magazine found out that SafeGraph was selling Planned Parenthood data, including how long people were in the clinics and where they went afterwards. You could even filter for frequent visitors. Now you have to be asking, what can we do about this? Well, first of all, the laws probably need to change, right? Only in America can you get this much information about people. But some states have passed laws to maybe curb some of this. Nevada, Connecticut, New York, California, they all passed laws to make geofencing around health facilities illegal. No tracking, no ads, no targeting, at least not legally. And at the federal level, there was an effort to pass the American Data Privacy and Protection Act. It would have given us some real power to stop selling our data without our consent. It would have also made illegal geofencing around health facilities like abortion clinics, domestic violence shelters, or any religious institution. And it was a really smart, intelligent bill, but in pure DC fashion, it failed to pass. But what can you do to protect yourself? Well, start using privacy-focused browsers and search engines like Firefox, and try to opt out of data collection whenever possible. Use a VPN, and just be smart about the apps that you download. Just read them, see what kind of data it's sharing. Unfortunately, here in the US, we don't have a lot of options. And I'm sure my overseas listeners are like, the US is wild because they actually have privacy laws in most Western countries. So, yeah, this is a big deal, guys. It can be used for good, and it can be used for bad, and it can be used to sell you useless things that you don't even need. All right, thank you for listening to this bonus episode of Pretend. I needed one more week before releasing my next series, which is called The Playwright. And it's, wow, I started that investigation back in 2021, and it's finally ready. So I can't wait for you to listen. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
These days, clients want it all. A slick-looking site that can run their business and scale with their success. The good news? That's exactly what Wix Studio is built for. Plan out your client's whole site in seconds with AI-powered site mapping and wireframing. Then, when everyone's on the same page, jump into the creative, starting off in Figma and exporting it in a click, or in the Wix Studio editor with precise layouting tools like Grid, Stack, and Flexbox. Go above and beyond the brief with no-code animations, custom CSS, and built-in business solutions, and make your whole vision responsive in a click. And there's zero need to break a sweat when clients grow fast. A dynamic CMS with global design settings and reusable assets lets you turn one page into hundreds. Design smoother and deliver sooner. Go to wixstudio.com.
Creative Babble.